I don't have all the trophies, but I've unlocked all the units. I've played through the campaign with all the units.
What made you want to go back and do Into the Breach again?
I just really liked the sort of chess aspect of it. Back in high school, I was a sucker for the chess puzzles.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be like, okay, here's the board layout. You have these 3 pieces. You gotta do check in 3 moves or something.
Nice.
And I loved that. I thought it was so fascinating.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear that you bought a game and actually wanted to continue playing it.
Oh, I've played it.
That's good. I'm about 90 hours into my current Satisfactory world, and I can't stop.
But
I've almost unlocked Nuclear.
In 2 months, you're gonna have to re-roll.
But see, that's perfect, because in 2 months, I'll be done everything I want to do in my current world. And then 1.0 will come out, and then I'm like, okay, this will be
what?
The last time I'll play through it.
Last time.
By myself. By myself.
There'll always be more times. Anyway, hello, and welcome to Basements, Faults, and Catapults. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm Trevor.
And here we're going to look at games, genres, and the things that we enjoy in gaming.
And to do that, we're going to randomly select a genre each episode.
We'll give a brief rundown of that genre.
And then we'll select 2 games. One of these games will be the absolute best in show, while the other, for whatever reason, is not so good. The catch, and what we hope will be the fun part, is neither of us will have played, or at least played heavily, the titles the other has selected.
Yeah, so we'll take those titles, the best and the worst, we'll divide them up, and we'll give it an hour of playtime. We're going to meet back up and chat about our experiences.
That's where we'll give our own opinions of the other's game, celebrate where we agree, and refrain from murdering each other where we disagree. After all, not everyone can have a perfect opinion.
No, and that's it. We hope that you'll join us, listen in, maybe be inspired to try a few titles along the way, or, let us know exactly why our opinions are trash.
Thank you for joining us, and remember, if you're not first, you're last.
Oh.
Yes. At least on our podcast, that's the format. You're either playing a faulty game and that fell into the abyss, or you're being
not
catapulted into success.
Speaking of faulty games, I believe it is my turn to get the Passato. Because I had Into the Breach last week.
My friend, it is time for you to taste the worst taste in the world. Episode 19. Let's see. We're gonna do... Last time we did Tactics.
Yeah, which is what we got Into the Breach. And you had Necromunda, Under High Boars.
Yeah, Necromunda, which, ultimately it wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll play it again. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So.
All right.
What kind of genres are you thinking about today?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Valheim, so I'm kind of survivaled out.
You and I always play a lot of survival games.
Yeah, right.
It tends to be our go-to genre.
Yeah, it's a fun genre. Yeah. I could go for but I'm getting a crap game today. Because
if you were getting a good game, what genre would you like?
I always love a good RPG.
Oh,
love me a good RPG. I recently dug out my copy of Phantasy Star 4, and now I'm trying to source the Sega Genesis, see if I could play that, because I have the actual physical cartridge.
Nice.
And now it's just going to be finding a Sega Genesis. I also have a copy of Skies of Arcadia.
Okay.
For the GameCube, so I'm going to try to find a GameCube I can use for that.
You might have to get some replacement batteries for those cartridges too, if you want to have save games.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, because those all those cartridges require essentially a backup battery. Those batteries tend to last like
quite a bit,
7 to 10 years kind of deal. But yeah, if it's older than 10 years, those batteries are probably pooched.
You have to that's surgery.
Yeah, we once had we were playing Final Fantasy 6 or 3 or whatever you want to call it.
On the SNES.
On the SNES. So we were playing Final Fantasy 6 on the SNES, and it had been borrowed from a kid in a lower grade than us. One of our friends borrowed it, and then we kept borrowing it from each other. And this went on for 3 years, and this poor kid never got his game back. So Stefan, if you're listening,
sorry.
I am sorry that I was a part of that.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I was gonna give it back to him, and then I just got peer pressured. No, dude, no, give it to me. I'll hold on to it, right? And I had borrowed it from one of them, not from Stefan. So Stefan. It was too bad. The mean things kids did. But anyway, it stopped saving games. It stopped holding save games. So we cracked it open, put in a AA battery, and like makeshifted it, and it fried 2 of the save slots, and only save slot 1 would work from that point forward.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we kind of baked that cartridge pretty badly. So make sure if you're replacing batteries and cartridges that you get the right one.
It's the little watch battery, guys.
Yeah, you can't just squeeze any battery. Now you can.
You should.
Clearly, but you should not.
Yeah. All right. So if you're just joining us, we have a random number or a random genre selector.
Yeah.
And Trevor pushes a very fancy button. It randomly generates some genres for us. I have in my hand a physical D20. The number on the D20 will correspond to the amount of times Trevor's going to push that button.
Yes, indeed it is.
Let's see what happens.
I'm kind of hoping for some tower defense.
I rolled a nat 20.
Did you roll a nat 20?
I rolled a nat 20.
Man, oh man. All right. We don't have any rules about nat 1s or nat 20s.
Yeah, right?
But...
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll have a day where we chat with some of our listeners and we figure out special rules and stuff.
Okay. So, after 20 clicks of the button...
Okay.
I just want to throw in there, like, what I really love about having the random selector and the dice is that we literally have the best version of cause and effect going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, what we did last time is going to greatly impact what we do next time, but it's still kind of random with the dice.
Yeah.
I have to comment on that. So, our genre for today is going to be the answer to the universe's greatest question, which is
42.
number 42, which falls under deck building.
Deck building. Oh, I already know. Okay.
Please, can I play the game that you recommended a while back?
Cultist Simulator.
Yes, please.
Done.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say you have 2 choices, Stack Lands or Cultist Simulator. Cultist Simulator's the winner.
Okay, so like Cultist Simulator's in my cart right I'm pretty sure it's, Cultist Simulator's in my cart right now because it happens to be still the Steam summer sale at the point of recording this episode.
Sale.
Yeah, and so it is 75% off. It's $5.69.
That is a steal for Cultist Simulator.
Yeah, I've also got Into the Radius, which is a VR horror game.
Ooh.
Horror survival.
Ooh.
Cosmic Osmo. It's on sale. 50% off.
So what, like $2?
It's $3.89.
I was close.
But I really want to play it since you got to play it the other day.
It was fun. It was cute. Like, it wasn't like, ooh, but it was a cute little, just nice point and click time waste. It was good.
Yeah, Persona 5 Royal. I put that in my...
Persona 5, it's that easily one of my favorite JRPGs of the last 7 years. Tales of Arise and Persona 5 Royal are like easily some of the best JRPGs in recent memory.
Yeah, you recommended it so many times I had to add it to my cart.
I mean, my favorite JRPG of all time will always be Final Fantasy VI. But
yeah, me too. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI, the game really was like one of the best experiences that I had in my childhood as far as like entertainment, story, being attached to characters. God, I loved it.
It was great.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So we've also got in my cart Slay the Spire.
Oh.
Rover Saves the Universe.
Slay the Spire's kind of a deck builder.
Yeah, it is. Cultist Simulator, obviously. And then I threw Motorsports Manager into there. It was on my wish list for some reason. I'm trying to clean out my wish list by just buying games.
You're a big car guy. I have Motorsport Manager.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I think it'll be fun. I hate the manager games. Typically, like I tried one of the one of the football manager games, and I just couldn't get into it. I also bought Soma because on Reddit, so many people have been talking about how great Soma is as far as like the story, and it's like a horror story game.
Yeah, it's kind of it's if BioShock was rated R is kind of the way I would describe it.
Yeah. And then I'm also finally committing to Master Bladesmith on VR as well. Oh. So I'm trying to fill my VR bucket a little bit. Trover Saves the Universe is VR capable as well.
There you go.
So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out my cart by purchasing what's in it.
And this, children, is the power of disposable adult money.
Yes. I need one moment. I need to go grab my credit card.
Excuse me.
Excuse me while I spend all my money.
Dum-bum-bum. Oh, to be that free, ladies and gentlemen, to be that free.
Need any other beveraginos before we get started?
No, I mean, I would never say no to ginger ale or some other carbonated beverage.
Bubbly.
But
I have bubbly.
I love bubbly, but
I'll grab you a bubbly.
I'm also not like I don't need it.
Well, if you like, it is there for you, and I'm happy to dish it up.
Happy to shell.
I was thinking about snacks. I was like, maybe we should consider what kind of snacks, healthy or otherwise, we would like to have when I'm.
I'll never say no to like salted nuts.
Oh yeah, salted nuts.
I grabbed the.
Nothing says podcast with friends like salty nuts.
I grabbed the mixed bag from Costco. I love it. Just handful of nuts in my mouth every morning.
Also, something that is a great way to start your day is some nuts in the mouth.
Just a handful of salty nuts and just take it right to the face hole.
You know what? I do enjoy pecans greatly. Pecans. And I greatly enjoy cashews. The cashews. And once in a while, I'll just buy like a solid thing of Mr. Peanut and just like go to town.
Peanuts are good.
Yeah, and then I'll gain like 15 pounds.
From peanut bulking.
Just from peanut bulking.
Yeah, it is a lot of protein. Yeah, I love a good peanut. I love a good Brazil nut. Cashews, but not a huge fan of pecans or almonds. I do like walnuts.
Oh yeah, walnuts are good. Yeah. Almonds, yeah, like chocolate covered almonds I'll do.
Yeah. I mean, chocolate covered anything is like, yeah, that's pretty good.
I agree.
I mean, there are always limits, ladies and gentlemen, but for the most part. God, I'm so excited for you to play Cultist Simulator.
Me too, but that means that I've got to pick you something.
And it's got to be bad.
Oh, no.
It's got to be the worst.
Oh, no. Well, let's see what I have in my library. I might have some other deck building games in my library. I may not. My library is, despite having so many games, my genre diversity is a little on the low side. Deck building. So I'm assuming you've played Slay the Spire.
Yes, and that's a good game.
Have you played Loop Hero? I mean, that's a good game as well.
I've never heard of Loop Hero, so no.
Oh, okay. Loop Hero's pretty good. I mean, the graphics are horrendous.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cards and tankards. What's that? Oh, mostly positive. All right, I'm going to actually have to go out to the store to find you a deck builder. Deck builders. There are 2,252 deck builder games on Steam. Oh man, they are really hawking. They're really hawking the deck builders. Potionomics. That sounds fun, but I'm gonna bookmark that. That on my wish list to check out later. I take 10 things off my wish list, add 20
10 more, yeah.
Yeah.
What's one step forward, 2 steps back?
That sounds like my life, man. That sounds like my life.
It's always there.
My gaming life, anyway.
Yeah. Hey-o.
All right, we need to find some games that are not top rated.
Yeah, I basically hit sort by like review, and then I just I push the middle mouse button down and scroll down and just walk away.
Yeah, I'm trying to they've changed their search a little bit. There we go. They're really hawking their wares here on the Steam today.
Yeah, I know a lot of deck builders, the bad ones anyway, get just consumed by microtransactions. So
yeah, they do. So I wonder what kind of inappropriate deck builder games there are.
Oh Lord!
Oh, there's gonna be so many. I'm gonna try to avoid them, but
my job's easy. I'm done. I can just sit here and watch you.
Yeah, you know what the great thing is when you hit a genre that you're very familiar with, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's an easy one. That's an easy one.
Yeah, I was going to give you a choice. I was going to say Stacklands or Cultist Simulator. Your call.
Yeah,
you pick Cultist. You were ready. So
I was thinking if we, not if, when we go to Otafest, I want to play anime games because it's obviously Otafest.
Yeah, we'll have to.
But I'd like to. I think, and this is just me brainstorming, but I think it would be. I want to run a panel called "So You Want to Start a Podcast," and really talk about like what other people want to do to start their podcasts, where they're going from. Because I mean, by then we'll have a fair bit of experience, and I feel like it'd be cool to just talk to people, find out what they're doing, and interview a couple people at Otafest.
100%. Let's do it.
And try to find out who else is doing podcasts, and maybe give people some shout outs, and just kind of have fun networking.
At that point, that we're networking, and networking kind of has a dirty connotation, but no, you're reaching out to people who are doing the same thing you're doing and are having fun doing it, and you're expanding your opportunities.
Yes.
Which is a world of difference to glad handing and just be like, hey, check this,
here, take my business card.
Yeah, that I have a problem with. But genuinely reaching out, making relationships, love it.
All right, so I'm trying to pick you out a game here. We've got mirror chains, all kind of beautiful girl characters. This game you are welcome to challenge. This is not a good game. This is not an appropriate game. Ooh, Robo Wars, that's interesting, but that's an RTS. Groob. Someone else talk to me about Groob. Is Groob an...
Matt
Rubin. It looks like it might be an anime game, so I might not. It's not tagged anime.
Oh, interesting.
It has some anime art for sure.
Oh dear.
But it's none of the card art is anime. Let's see.
Oh.
Because somebody on I was looking at card building games and somebody recommended Groob. So that's an option. So it's down to you know what? I think I've got one here for you.
Okay.
I mean, Groob's interesting, but
Mike Rubin.
I think I want you to. It's a free to play.
Okay.
It's got mixed reviews.
Okay.
Some said good, some said bad.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Oh, and one of the reviews says, before I played Falling is Lightning, I had small pee-pee, no friends, no girlfriend, depression, and no life. These things have changed, but the game is pretty good.
My God.
These things haven't changed, is what he said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's, some of these reviews, man, people are just trolling at this point. So yeah, it is free to play. It's called Falling as Lightning. It is a deck building card game strategy politics.
Okay.
So take that what you will. Its release date was September 6th, 2021. Plan and build a deck of cards to represent your government. Then use the structure you create to mobilize the military and unite warring star systems under the guiding light of your political ideology. I love it.
I actually the premise is very interesting to me.
I don't know. A card game political. We'll have to see. My hopes are not high. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do
it.
Falling as Lightning. I'm going to record that in our handy dandy little spreadsheet.
I've already got it installed and I'm loading it. I can play the game now.
Nice. All right. Falling as Lightning.
Lightning.
All right, man. Well, let's start a timer.
I got it.
Cool beans.
And ready when you are.
All right. Well, have fun.
Good luck.
And
don't die.
Well, it's a cultist simulator.
You're going to die a lot,
Somebody's going to die.
Somebody's going to die.
All right, let's do this.
Well, you know what? 3 minutes left. You want to call her?
Sure.
I have to call it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done. I can't
done
do
with
this anymore.
It is bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
But c'est la vie.
Such is life. All right, well, seeing as I have no glimmering, I must save my game. Now
you can just exit out. It saves the state.
Does it?
Yep.
I like that. Save and exit. Beautiful.
Boom, done. Look at you.
Purge, save.
Yeah.
Let's start over, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You can purge the save, start an entirely new, legacy. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Well, let's hear it from the man who had the plan. How did we Cultist Simulator? It's complex. It's crunchy. I understand that. It is not accessible.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I'd say it is accessible. If you know that, I dove into it, and I have a big screen, 32 inches.
Yeah.
So now that I'm getting older and I wear glasses, I don't always see everything on the screen. So
It's a
unless
lot
I
to
go
look at.
looking, I won't find things like, a pause button. So my first playthrough was really like, I felt rushed. I felt like, oh, this is going too fast.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could pause. But I enjoyed it. I liked going through. So you're basically essentially like a tarot card table.
Yep.
And you're getting all of these different cards and you're kind of playing through what is kind of like a storyline of your mundane life and exploring the occult and
Discovering things.
exploring different regions and dreaming on things and working a job and earning funds. And throughout the game, it kind of eats up your resources and funds, and you have a few base resources. I did not understand this fully the first time through the game. Second time through, though, you've got your health resource, you've got your reason resource, you've got your passion resource, and then one other one, and then money. And I kind of got the gist of using most of it. It's kind of fun because you get to choose like a legacy trait each time you kind of fail and you start over, and it just kind of keeps continuing on and on and on. Second playthrough, though, I really was getting into it. Now that I was pausing and reading all the cards that were coming up, it's like, okay, you're exploring this deep, dark alleyway, and okay, you're exploring this, place where you might find some occult artifacts, and each event kind of takes you further through this storyline that you're kind of building based on these cards that are coming up.
And you hadn't even locked into your ascension route yet. You were just passionate about something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you get a few different places to explore. Started out with like my second playthrough, I was doing like a club that I could explore, and then like an auction house.
Yeah. Or flames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, the character's father dies apparently in the story, and you get some inheritance. So you get lots of money to play with. My first playthrough, I found like money was very challenging. Second playthrough, lots of money, not having any issues with money. Slowly you get to upgrade from like menial labor to like you're working for like a firm and if you don't work from time to time, they demote you back to menial labor. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a card-based story game. And
it's actually with the firm specifically, there's a special ending where you can dream on the firm.
Oh, okay.
And just become a company man, a salary man.
I like it. Have all the funds in the world.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed it. Going through the story, and it is complicated. I think that if you're a seasoned gamer, pretty easy to latch onto. Stuff is happening very quickly. The music is very atmospheric, and it just kind of like sucks you in. I feel like this is a game where, like, if you're home alone on a Saturday and you start playing this game,
it'll be Sunday morning.
It'll be Sunday morning by the time you look out your window.
Oh, 100%. Easy.
And it's like you're not really doing anything. Like, you're not playing a character in third person or first person. It's not really a 3D game. You're not exploring an environment. It's purely cerebral.
Yeah.
And I've played cerebral games in the past before. And this kind of just reminds me of those choose your own adventure books.
Oh, a lot, yeah.
But I found this to be very cerebral, but also very stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you're going, and it's like dopamine hit after dopamine hit, because you're getting more cards and more unlocks and more
timers going.
More timers going, more interesting things are happening. And you kind of get caught up in the management of all of it because there's so many different like little squares with timers on them and cards that are going to expire. And you kind of start grouping your cards up, kind of figuring out how to organize yourself a little bit better. I don't think I still have a firm grasp on all the different types of cards, but now I understand my resource cards versus my exploration cards versus my knowledge and study cards. So like I am grasping the game the more I play it, and that I love to learn things. I love to learn things, and when a game is like, hey, we're going to keep spoon feeding you more about the game and more about the kind of the why you're doing this and why you're this character that you're basically living this story through, why you're doing it and what you're trying to explore. Like I'm sitting here kind of going like, well, like I need to figure out what's going on with this like occultist thing.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what's going on with, there was like a red diary that I was reading from like my previous character, because it said like you have the ability to name your playthrough, name your character.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, you found this red diary from your previous character. And so I'm like, okay. So I, study on that, and then it like continues you down, like the cards are getting like redder and darker and more like occulty. And you're like, okay, if I go too far down this path, what's going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so it creates a lot of intrigue for you, and it kind of makes you invest like cerebrally and a little bit like emotionally into the story where you're like, oh, I want to know what happens next. I got to keep going. When you were like, yeah, 3 minutes left. We're going to stop now. It's like, what? No.
No.
I want to play for another couple hours.
I mean, you own it now. Go for it.
I
And
do
you,
own it now.
I believe with the version you purchased, you have the DLC, the Dancer DLC, the Ghoul DLC, and the Priest DLC.
Nice.
And they add new characters, new storyline ideas.
That's very cool.
Or Thief of Hours. We'll see. Anyway, there's some really cool DLC and even a new game mode.
Yeah.
That really it's a really kind of in depth. It's not fast paced or it's not action, but there's a lot of like thinking, and it's a board game that plays itself in a lot of ways.
Yeah. There was a game that you haven't tried yet, but it's actually considered quite good, called Loop Hero. So if we ever fall back onto this category,
and it's my turn for the good,
and it's your turn for a good game. I think even in the next 10 episodes, I'd be happy to replay deck building games to give you an opportunity to play a good one. Because Loop Hero, it's almost like an idler card game. Like you kind of set the cards that you want it to do, and it kind of just goes through the loop. And,
interesting.
And then it finishes out. And then you get your next set of cards, and then you kind of play which cards are going to go for that loop, and it kind of plays through the loop.
Interesting.
And there's a little bit of interaction you can do, but it's almost like an idler game in a way.
It's a very, very when I was learning computer programming up at the U of A, the learning program was called Pickerbot.
Okay, yeah.
And you would give it, go forward, go forward, and move up its spaces, and you tell it plant a flag or pick up a flag. So you had to program routes and stuff. So it sounds a little bit like Looper Hero. You put these commands in and then watch it do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But that kind of this game kind of reminds me of that in the sense that you're kind of playing different cards, reading different story cues, and then waiting for the timers to run out before you can do it again. And you start with managing just a couple of little boxes that have timers. Then you kind of get more and more and more and more to the point where there's like a lot happening, but you still have to go to work, and you still have to earn funds, and you still have to
you still got to put food on the table,
maintain your health,
Yeah.
Continue to explore things and manage your funds, because the funds slowly get eaten up even just by itself.
Yep.
So it's kind of fun.
Eventually, you actually form a cult in that game. You do form a cult, and you can start recruiting people to help you with certain tasks.
Yeah, I noticed there's a couple of things in the game that I couldn't do. So I would go like explore here or whatever, study here, and it would go, well, you need a leader, you need an assistant, and then you need some funds, and you maybe need some other things. And I'm like trying to I'm like, oh, I got to keep that card for later, because I need a bunch of other things in order to properly utilize it. And I'm like, when do I get a leader? And my first playthrough, I had like 2 or 3 people, so I was able to do some of those more advanced things. But in the second playthrough, I haven't got there yet. And it's funny because there's like points where you need to have a specific kind of card, like the glimmering card, in order to advance. You're dreaming on passion, but to advance it to the next level, you need a glimmering card. So you got to like think, okay, I got to put that in the back of my mind that the next time I have some glimmering cards, then I need to dream on the passion. Then I can use the glimmering card to unlock it. So you kind of have to make a few mental notes to know like how to progress to the next stage. But there's so many different other things you're progressing through that you're kind of like, A, you're probably going to forget.
Yeah.
But B, you're not like, oh man, like now I got to wait a bunch of time, because you're busy doing other things.
Yeah.
And for a game that just is like literally top down, I'm just looking at cards on a table. Very well executed. I think the UI is phenomenal. I think the gameplay is quite intuitive, although like it's not exactly telling you like move this here. But if you don't know what to do with a card, you could double click on the card and it would just go to wherever it could go. And then you could hit accept. So my first playthrough was a lot of double clicking on cards because I don't know where these cards go. My second playthrough now I kind of know where the cards go, and clicking on the card slot to see the highlightable cards of what could go into that slot. Again, learning the card types. Yeah, it's got me. It's got me. Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
I think I might be joining this Cultist Simulator.
It's a gooder.
Yeah.
I played Cultist Simulator. I've talked about their sort of spiritual successor, the Book of Hours, which has its big DLC coming out soon, I think.
Nice.
And then sister company to them is the guys who did Sunless Seas and Sunken London and Starless Skies. So you can kind of see the pedigree there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like what they're doing. I like what they've done with the place.
I like what they've done with the place. It looks good.
So graphics and art.
Eh.
It's a card game.
Yep. 100%.
I think I'm going to focus less on the graphics in this case and more on the art. I like the aesthetic of the art in the game. Because of the type of game this is, I can't give it higher than a 7 out of 10.
No, that's more than fair.
It's good enough.
Yep.
I like the artwork. I think the artwork's quite good. I wish the cards had like bigger cards, more artwork, more detailed artwork, being able to zoom in on the artwork or being able to like expand it out and see like a mural of artwork. I think there's a lot of cool art.
Like that big. If they were that big, that'd be a little cooler.
Yeah, like I feel like in a game like this, think Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Why do people buy all these silly little paper cards? Right?
Because they get to touch cardboard.
They get to touch cardboard. Yeah, it's a physical thing, but also like the artwork is kind of cool. Like
the artwork is very cool.
Even Pokemon cards. I don't collect Pokemon cards, but when I go to Japan, I always go to the Pokemon centers and buy cards.
Buy a pack.
And I get a few cool like holographics or whatever. And I put them in a little folio and I hold on to them. They're my souvenirs. But the ones that I like the most are the ones with interesting artwork.
Absolutely.
And so cards for me, like even I go to like an antique store. What is it? White Knight down on White Ave.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I rarely buy things from there, but I always go and look because there's always cool things. And one of the things I like to do while I am there is to go through kind of like their card displays and see what they've got. Because there is interesting artwork on some of these cards that I might buy, even though I don't play Magic the Gathering. Because that's really cool artwork, right? I feel like the games like this could utilize artwork a little bit more. So like if I'm playing a Hearthstone, the artwork was pretty cool in Hearthstone. Like I mean, it seemed cool at the time. I'd have to go back and play it.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. But so I think like a 7 out of 10 is reasonable.
That's more than fair, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a card game. What more do you want from a card game? You know,
pretty cards. Boom, done.
It's like, what are you gonna do? Yu-Gi-Oh it up, Unreal Engine, turn them all into active monsters. Right.
What is the Magic Arena does that?
Yeah.
Right. Not every card, but certain cards have like a big battlefield effect that you see on screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I am Kaiba, and I have the 3 Blue Eyes White Privilege cards. Yeah. So funny.
You fool, my grandfather's deck has no bad cards.
Right? So funny. When he tore up Yugi's Blue Eyes White Dragon, I was like, what? Dude, what are you doing?
Douche.
Such a douche. Music and audio. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the music is very like sort of dark, culty in the background.
The game is yeah, it is. It is. The game is so basic though that the first thing my brain focused on when I got into the game was the music.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I see a table and I hear some music. So my brain's just like, well, we'll just listen to the music now because there's nothing else visually stimulating. So the music kind of caught my attention right away. Very atmospheric, very culty, very like, if you've ever heard any of the audio recordings on any of the Lovecraftian games.
Yeah.
Very much that.
Yeah, the
genre.
plinking piano and like sort of a lot of minor tones, like a lot of minor notes that kind of give you that unsettled feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And the music would change from time to time and it would get a little darker and a little bit like, ooh, like something's going to happen. And you're kind of going through the story and you're like, and it actually gives you kind of a little bit of an anticipatory sense of dread.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. So I'm going to give the music and audio probably like a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I think it was the perfect choice for the game and what they're doing with it. I don't think I could suggest ways of making it better. 10 out of 10 for me would be like Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, give this man an Oscar.
Right.
Or
a
Tony or what's the Grammy? Give this man a Grammy.
Give him a Grammy. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a 9 out of 10 for music
Hot
audio.
damn.
I think they nailed it.
Hot damn.
Perfect choices for that for the style of game, in my opinion. Gameplay. That hour felt like 5 minutes.
Really?
So
Wow.
it got me hooked.
It got you.
me hooked.
You're on the loop.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the loop.
Well, I'm probably gonna go home and reinstall and play through at least one Ascension.
Well, my friend, you're gonna need a palate cleanser after the junk you played today. Well, maybe it's not complete junk, but we'll get to that in a moment.
We have some ducks.
So yeah, music audio 9 out of 10, gameplay 9 out of 10, fun 9 out of 10. I don't think anything goes a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
If there was a little bit more initial tutorial or descriptive help at the start,
maybe
to get me started a little bit more of understanding the resources and understanding the different categories of things, and give me something to chew on before I start my first round, I think I would have had a 10 out of 10 on the fun on that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think the first playthrough wasn't very. It was exhilarating but not fun. Had they given me some basic instructions, I think I'd have had a 10 out of 10 fun time the whole time playing it.
There you go. So, that's huge, because yeah, a lot of people get turned off on that first playthrough because it's rough going. You die.
Yeah. So my average between all those numbers is an 8.5 out of 10, which I agree with.
That's really solid.
It's an 8.5 out of 10 game.
It's an 8.5 out of 10 game.
Very good game. My stamp of approval, absolutely. I think Cultist Simulator is a phenomenal entry into the deck building game genre. And if you are at all interested in the deck building genre, I think that, and this isn't like a Pocket Monsters collect it kind of deck building.
No.
This is a story-driven deck building game, or deck building story game, deck-driven story game.
Deck-driven story game. Yeah, unlike Slay the Spire or other things where like your cards are direct actions, there's a lot of build with the decks.
Yeah.
in a Cultist Simulator.
For basically an art and story only game.
Yeah.
With no dialogue and no characters, no animated creatures, nothing fighting other things. I didn't think that a game that lacks all of those elements would be at all worth playing. I think that's why Cultist Simulator spent a lot of time in my wish list and never got purchased.
Never pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah. And so get the word out.
Get the word out.
Cultist Simulator is a great game.
Cultist
and
Simulator is
everybody
a great game.
who is into any kind of story-driven game should give it a shot.
Yeah. And definitely, if you did Cultist Simulator, check out the spiritual sequel, Book of Hours. Also amazing.
Yeah, I think
you run a library and you check out horrible books of eldritch knowledge to the people who come. It's perfect.
I love it. So, how about you, good sir? You were playing Falling as Lightning.
Yeah,
was it more like Failing as Lightning, or give us some insights?
I played Falling as Lightning for 55 minutes, give or take, and I will never get those 55 minutes back. In those 55 minutes, I could have watched 2 anime episodes. I could have read half a book. I could have walked outside. I could have done so many things, but instead I was playing Falling as Lightning. It was not good. I will preface that.
Does it feel like you were in a coma for 10 years and you're just waking up?
God, that would be preferable, because at least I'd be waking up and I'd be like, okay, what's new and exciting? They'd be like, oh, Lost is over. Oh, how was the last season? Meh. Like,
yeah.
At least I'd have that. But in this case, so the premise is awesome. Like, it's sold off as like, civil war has raged across the solar system. You're picking up the pieces, establish your government, and then using the apparatus of that government, you're going to go through and reunite the stars. Hey, I'm sold. That sounds amazing. It's not. Your government is really more of a faction. Every government has access to the same cards, so that doesn't matter.
No unique cards far as you can tell.
Cards, just what it was. You're fighting against an AI that knows the optimum rule set, And it's not very clear. Like if at the very beginning it says click on a system to start. So I clicked on a system. Nope, can't start there. So you'd end up just blindly clicking until you click on a planet that works, and now the game starts. You have a starting pool of cards, and those cards generate resources, and you use those resources to buy more cards, which is a very basic loop. But you can also use those resources to conquer new systems. But this system takes 10 prestige, which is a type of card resource, or it takes 2 orders, which is another type of card resource. But how do I generate orders? That's not explained. You have to find a card that makes orders, and you can buy more cards. So you have to use your prestige to buy a card. So now you're like 6 turns behind. The AI is taking over half the map because they somehow are doing just great. It was very frustrating. The explanations, there was one big, you click a button, learn how to play. And you think, oh, cool, there'll be a tutorial. It's a text file. But the only thing I liked about it was that I could clearly tell that this was someone who had developed the game. There was, the cards were all hand-drawn, janky as everything. But they were there. They were hand-drawn. It was... You know that sweet spot in an artist's journey when they graduate from stick figures but haven't quite made the full run to like actual like an artistic style?
Yeah.
And then it's just like that janky like fleshed out stick figure.
Yeah, basically that place where every adult gets to eventually but never graduates from without art school.
Yeah. That's where their art was. It was that fleshed out stick figure. And like cool, right? Like you took the time, you drew your own assets. Hats off, right?
Yeah.
But woof. But yeah, it was so frustrating to see, and it made no sense to play. Like halfway through the game, I'd be like, okay, I have enough prestige, I can buy a super card here, and it wouldn't let me buy the card. Why can't I buy the card? Well, it turns out I can only ever have 16 cards in hand. How do you get rid of cards? Well, you have to have a card that banishes cards.
Oh.
But I can't buy a banished card because I filled up my bureaucracy, right? So now you're kind of... You screwed yourself is what you did. So, restart the game. I think I've restarted that game 22 times.
Oh my god.
And...
In 55 minutes.
Yeah. And
Brutal.
the closest I came to winning was I got 3 systems under my control, and the AI then had like 32.
Oh my gosh.
So like and I was on like easy AI, very easy mode. So it made me feel very stupid.
Big woof.
Yeah, big woof. And there's so many moments in the game design where they could have fixed that. They could have had a tutorial. They could have had in-game help, like, hey, click here, click here. All of these are just very simple executable options that they could have done. They could have knocked out resource. They had, I believe, 5 resources to manage. If they had knocked that down to 3, again, it would have simplified the game. It would have been a little more interesting.
Would have made it easier.
Yeah, or not easier is one thing, but also ease of access, which is something we've come back to a few times. Would have made something. I wanted to like the game. I really did, because people who make things, I love you guys. I want everyone to go out and make stuff. I do.
Yeah, don't get discouraged if your game doesn't do well or if it gets bad reviews.
Yeah, you made it.
You gotta at least try, and you get credit for that no matter how bad.
Yeah,
the game
exactly.
is.
So like to I believe it was Dementia or Dimension Monarchs or something. Really cool. Like you took the time. There was a lot that you missed on, and I would love to see you go back and try that out. I have no patience for the big AAA titles. I'll rip you to shreds all day long. But an independent developer like my dude, you did something, and that's cool.
Yeah, when someone like EA makes something that is hot garbage that could have easily not been.
Yeah.
Yes, we will rip you a new one for sure.
So now we come to the ratings. And this is where it's going to get hard. Graphics art, not great. 4. 4.5. Like
it did look pretty shoddy.
It gets like 2 points. Like it was a 2.0 for me. But it gets 2 points because they're not asset rips. This individual went and took the time to create them. That is amazing. Kudos there. But it's not great. Like I said, it's like that graduation from stick figure, but before actual.
Maybe they had like maybe the people developing it were like teachers in an elementary school or something, and just
And
had
then
their
they had their
students
elementary kids
draw.
draw it.
I mean, just imagine you got like 36 kids in a
that'd be
class.
hilarious. But the art was too cohesive to one another. Like if you got 36 kids, they're all going to draw 36 sort of different things.
Right? Yeah, they would.
But
that would be entertaining.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
But you get like 36 different art styles. But the art was too cohesive for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, 4.5. Again, 2 of those points are just because you did this and you didn't rip it out of the Unity store.
Okay.
Music audio. Oof.
What was the music and the audio like?
It was like someone's jazz piano recital.
Oh, fair enough.
Like it was okay, which means it's a 5.
Okay.
But it didn't add anything to the game. It didn't take anything from the game. It was just there. Honestly, if I could have put on my own soundtrack, I would have. But that's not the purpose of this. We go through and we try it as originally intended.
Yeah. It's music and audio is definitely one of those things. You could make a game with absolutely no music.
Yep.
Really well designed audio, sound effects,
Yep.
things like that.
Sound feedback is super important.
And if the game is like a survival game, I don't need music for that.
Nope.
Probably going to put on my own soundtrack.
Yep.
I
I need to hear the deer in the distance so I know when to go into stealth. But that's about it. Yeah.
Games like 7 Days to Die.
Oof.
Then I want to not have my own soundtrack because I want the music to tell me when it's going to be nighttime soon.
Yeah, it's going to be the blood moon.
You're going to die soon. You need to get ready, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if the music, depending on the game, the music is unimportant. But just slapping something in there for the sake of having music is worse than not having music.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent. If there had been any audio feedback, that would have been nice, but nothing.
So gameplay. How would you rate the gameplay elements and mechanics of this game?
So there's something there. I know there's something there. I see it underneath all the crud. I can see the base, the concept. But it's too bloated. It's too complex. It doesn't feed well. You can make a deck that feels really good, but it ultimately gets screwed over because you don't have any cards that generate one of the 5 resources, right? So I would encourage, if they chose to revisit, to knock out some of those resources, bring it down to 3 resources. Because right now, pardon me, having to manage 5 and getting bricked, just doesn't feel good. It sucks.
Yeah, sometimes, it's the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes, or keep it stupid simple if you want to be a little nicer.
Simple. Yeah.
But it is important. I mean, if you get there's 2 games that I'm wanting to develop. One of them I'm working on right now, very, very, very slowly because, well, I have too many hobbies.
Yeah.
But it started out as this grandiose idea of I want to do these 35 game mechanics that no one's ever done before, and I want to put them all into my new game, and it's like, number one, scope. There's no way I would ever get that completed.
Yeah. Not by your lonesome.
Number 2, there's a lot of really cool things that I'd love to do in a game, but even with a giant team, if we were to pull off all of the game mechanics in the games that I want to build, you kind of look at it from the player's perspective and you go, is this something that a player would actually enjoy?
Yeah.
Or did we do this just because we thought creating features would be cool?
Yeah, you got so focused on what you could do that you didn't stop to think if you should do.
It's like Microsoft. Let's change the right-click menu in Windows 11 and make it so you have to click...
Do I have things to say about that?
Make it so you have to click show more options to get to the normal, regularly, commonly, always used items. Now, I get it. There are keyboard shortcuts for most of those. Just give me back my right-click menu, you guys. I shouldn't have to do a register. Anyway, I digress. But yeah.
I mean, to get to my zip options, what are you doing, Microsoft?
Yeah, keep it simple. That's all I want. Yeah, I don't right-click 7-zip. I shouldn't have to go right-click, show more options, 7-zip. Just keep it simple. Fewer clicks, fewer complexities, core game mechanics that are focused on with maybe
honest.
1 or 2 side mechanics, but don't make it too complicated.
I've yet to use any of the basic options on my right click.
Right.
Right. It's always show more options.
Yeah, I was on a...
What if there's a way you could flip the two?
Well, you do a regedit change to use always the old right click menu, which is nice. But shouldn't have to do that. Like the majority, but they're looking at the majority of users that are like basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, majority of users aren't using 7-zip. They're not, so that's fine. But if you've been a PC user for more than a decade, you probably don't like when they start hiding things or making it harder to get to them. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we just have to kind of go, hey, what works? Keep it simple. Make the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah, and to that point as well, like if this is your first game, definitely keep it simple.
Yeah,
because it's not that you're stupid or not skilled. It's you don't have the skill set yet. You don't have the experience to build all of these and make it a cohesive whole.
Yeah.
So learn how to do that. Like it's not by accident that most people's first game program is a version of Pong.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. You got to learn somewhere. I know one Redditor responded. We were talking about Windows 11, and one Redditor responded and said, "Well, Windows 11's mostly keyboard driven anyway. Like, and if you know what you're doing, like use power tools and use PowerShell and all these other things." And I'm like, when I right click to go to 7-zip, Power Toys and PowerShell and stuff like that, not going to help me.
Yeah.
It is still Microsoft making my life harder, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, but then again, I can't.
Also, if I'm at that point where I'm like running Power Tools and PowerShells and all that, we've crossed the basic user interface. We're now in like, just install Linux, man.
Yeah, just install Linux, make it a day. Yeah. But I don't know how to make an OS. So I'll just keep using whatever I can buy. Just like games. I'm still learning how to make games.
Yeah.
And until I can make the games that I want to play, I'll keep buying other people's.
That's right.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's talk about music, audio, gameplay. We gave it a big fat 2.
2.
I'm sorry.
Fun is the next rating.
Fun is the 2.
2. No fun. Okay, cool.
No fun. Stamp of approval. No. And I'm very sorry. I want you to do well. I want you to succeed. And I want you to keep making games, my friend. My programming brother, mother, sister, daughter, whatever you is.
Yeah.
Them. But woof. Swing and miss on this one.
Yeah.
But thank you for swinging.
So general rating, man, we gotta give it a general rating. Your average is 3.3.
That sounds fair. Let's give it a 3.3.
See, this is why I converted it from a text 7/10 to a 7.0. So I could use averaging. The ultimate genre super mega calculation sheet is getting better every day.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very impressive piece of PowerPoint or Excel.
I'm very sad that you had to play such a horrible game.
That's the game. That's the bigger meta game you and I play.
It is not the worst game you've ever played.
No.
War for Galaxy had a general rating of 1.3.
War for Galaxy was trash.
Yeah, Shrieking Darkness 1.5. So it is the 3rd lowest rated game that you have played so far.
Hey, at least it wasn't ET.
At least it wasn't ET, and that I can get behind. So yeah, Cultist Simulator, guys, get out there. If you love those story-driven games, get yourself a copy of Cultist Simulator. I 100% recommend it.
And as it was my recommendation, I'm very happy he recommends it because, yeah, I loved Cultist Simulator. As for Falling Like Lightning or Falling as Lightning or whatever, it's half-baked. It needs more time in the Easy Bake Oven, and I hope that the developer continues doing things, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this one.
Well, we came, we saw, we conquered, and we refrained from murdering each other. You know,
we're doing pretty good.
We have not killed each other yet, and it's been 19 episodes.
19 episodes deep, team. Stay tuned. We'll have a special announcement for our 20th episode on our various socials.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming by.
Thanks for coming.
Good luck.
Have fun.
Don't
die.
And that's our time and the end of our episode.
But don't feel sad it's over. Be glad it happened. From the 2 of us in the basement
Thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time.
And feel free to send us any feedback on our socials or send us a direct email at bfcpcontact@gmail.com.
And if you're really interested in what we're doing, join us on Patreon, where we will have loads of behind-the-scenes stuff and uncut takes as more episodes are released. Patreon.com/basements, faults, and catapults.
We're always excited to hear from you because we love engagement. We look forward to our next catapult launch and hope you can join us for the ensuing chaos.
Good luck.
See you next time.
Yay!
Cultist Simulator's fun, dude.
I know, right?
It's a lot of fun. Like,
I've lost so much time on Cultist Simulator.
It's dangerously fun.